posachedwa apa tikupasirani speech imene wayankhula president wa dziko lino la Malawi Dr. Lazarus Makafe Chakwera lero lino pa 27 November 2024 imene ndi national address. Takhala pompo mumvesere kuti kodi president wayankhulanji lero lino.
The first and most serious challenge we face is the threat of hunger. As you all know, 8 months and 3 days ago, I addressed you to declare a state of disaster in 23 of Malawi's 28 districts because of the drought that had destroyed the food crops of over 1 million households across the country. I also informed you at that time that the 23 districts whose food crops had been destroyed by the drought were Nsanje, Chakwera, Blantyre, Tiolo, Mulanje, Palombe, Chiradzulu, Mwanza, Neno, Zomba, Machinga, Mangochi, Balaka, Lilongwe, Nchinji, Cheu, Salima, Doa, Dedza, Chisi, Kasungu, Kota, and Karonga, which is effectively the whole country of Malawi, with the exception of Rumpich, Dipa, and Likoma Island in the north. In terms of figures, I informed you at that time that over 749,000 hectares of maize had been affected by the disaster, representing over 44% of the national crop area. A catastrophic loss which the Malawi Vulnerability Assessment Committee, MVAC, determined would render 5.7 million Malawians food insecure from October 2024 to March 2025, and require close to 350 billion kwacha in off-budget resources, save so many people, so many of our citizens, from that looming threat of starvation. When I realized that what this meant, we only had 6 months to raise that money and procure the necessary food supply to address this humanitarian crisis. When I realized that, I immediately had my office develop the National El Niño Response Plan and started engaging our international partners, both here and abroad, to come to our aid in this hour of desperate need. Even though I knew that some people in this country would criticize and politicize my travel to the 9 countries I visited in those months, dismissing those trips as useless and wasteful, I also knew that being criticized was a price worth paying in order to find the necessary international support to prevent the far more terrible calamity of 5.7 million Malawians dying of hunger. I must therefore thank the following international partners who responded to my appeals for support, because without them, the hunger situation in this country would have already been the worst in our nation's history by now. For $92.6 million in support from the World Bank, I say thank you. For $23 million in support from the African Development Bank, I say thank you. for $18.2 million in support from the Africa Risk Capacity, ARC Limited, I said thank you. For $1.9 million in support from Japan through the World Food Program, I said thank you. For the 19,200 metric tons of maize from Ukraine through the World Food Program, I said thank you. For the $64,650 in support, in commodity support from China, I said thank you. For 1,000 metric tons of rice from India, I said thank you. And even here in Malawi, to those of you who have given various donations in cash and in kind, either to the Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODMA, or to the National Food Reserve Agency, NFRA, I said thank you. I wish I could tell you that all the support we have secured from around the world will be enough to enable us to feed everyone who will not have enough food between now and March. But sadly, that is not the case. Of the 347 billion kwacha target needed to secure enough food for the 5.7 million people in need of assistance, we are still short by 89 billion kwacha. With the assistance we did receive, we have been making food and cash distributions in the affected districts, delivering to each affected household either a 50-kilogram bag of maize or 70,000 kwacha to purchase food from the market. And so far, this cash or food operation by my government and the World Food Program is reaching 4.5 million people in 1.1 million households. And I thank God for His mercy to us. But that means we still have 1.2 million affected people who are still waiting for their turn to receive support. And so we will continue to lobby for additional support to ensure that the emergency operation reaches everyone who needs help and is sustained all the way to the end of March. In the past 2 months, I've been moving around some affected districts in the southern and central region, and will visit some areas of the northern region next week, because I want those who are facing hunger to hear directly from me that they should not lose hope, because help is on the way. During that time, I have also been engaged in internal meetings with officials from the ministries of finance, agriculture, local government, to ensure that there is better coordination between them, reaching those of you who are in need of emergency food relief. I have been doing this because many of you in the places that I have visited have told me that not enough affected people in your villages are being reached with the food support we are mobilizing. And I believe that the efforts we are making to improve the coordination will help close the gaps in the coming weeks. And I must thank you for your patience and understanding with some of the delays in this enormous nationwide operation. Additionally, because of the need to prioritize the food security of those Malawians who don't have enough to eat, but also due to physical discipline that we must exercise to manage our debt situation under the extended credit facility that we have with the International Monetary Fund, I have instructed the Minister of Finance to announce additional austerity measures when he appears before Parliament to present the mid-year budget review statement at the end of this week. So I ask for your support of those measures to cut spending. Meanwhile, in the 2 months that I have been fighting to secure food for Malawians who lost their crops, we also suffered a disruption in the supply of fuel to our country. As a nation, our monthly fuel demand is at an average of $50 million per month, which is used by our two main fuel importers, namely the National Oil Company of Malawi, NOCMA, and Petroleum Importers Limited, PIL. Unfortunately, through no fault of theirs, the rate at which we as a country generate foreign exchange has not kept pace with the growing demand for fuel, making these two importers unable to raise enough forex from the market to import the required volumes of fuel. For instance, in the month of August, NOCMA only raised $23 million of the required forex, while in September and October, that number fell below $20 million, increasing NOCMA's debt to suppliers to $72 million in October, and resulting in a 10-day suspension in NOCMA's access to fuel imports. It is this 10-day suspension that created the fuel queues over the past 6 weeks, forcing many of you to suffer long days and nights at fuel stations, as well as disruptions to your lives, work, and businesses. Knowing the frustration we were feeling and the urgency of the situation, at the very start of the crisis, I instructed the Treasury to contact our partners at Badea, who responded by providing a $50 million revolving credit facility. I also engaged the Reserve Bank to ramp up efforts to access more foreign exchange through commercial banks. And it is these interventions that have enabled NOCMA and PIL to bring the fuel that is now being made available in the filling stations. And tonight, I must thank you for your patience during the 6 weeks we have been having meetings in the night to resolve the fuel shortage. But I must add that the availability of fuel is only a short-term solution. The challenge that NOCMA and PIL face to access forex from the market in the open tender system we use as a country to import fuel has resulted in fuel supply disruptions at different times in the past 20 years. And it is time for us to take a different approach. For this reason, my administration has decided to begin the process of transitioning Malawi from the open tender system for procuring fuel to a government-to-government arrangement that will make our access to fuel more secure through better payment terms and cycles. In fact, as of 3 weeks ago, I constituted a coordinating committee to facilitate and execute all aspects of this G2G policy. The committee, which is chaired by the Minister of Energy, also includes the Minister of Finance, Minister of Trade and Industry, Minister of Justice, Minister of Foreign Affairs, as well as the Cabinet Secretary, the Governor of the Reserve Bank, the Attorney General, the Director General of the Procurement Authority, and the Chief Executive Officers of NACMA and the Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority, MERA. This committee is being supported by a technical committee of technocrats from their respective ministries, and they all have my instructions to work with speed to secure the first G2G agreement for our country. As a first step in pursuing this, I have accepted an invitation from the President of the United Arab Emirates to visit him in Abu Dhabi next week at his own government's expense to discuss this and other matters for the long-term fuel security of our country. My officials will therefore give you more details on this as we make progress. During this same period, the Malawi Electoral Commission has been conducting voter registration exercises across the country, of which 2 phases have already been completed, with the final phase starting tomorrow in Lilongwe, Mzimba, Mangochi, Chakwera, Sanje, and Mwanza. I received reports that in some parts of the country, people who are facing food insecurity have been reluctant to register, and that some have been feeling reluctant to register because of politicians whose rhetoric is discouraging voters. My own position, because I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, is that voting in our elections is your constitutional right. And you should vote. You should register to vote, because you should never surrender your constitutional rights for any reason. As for those who have grievances about registration process, we have the courts to resolve those disputes. But nobody's grievances should cause you not register. So please, go and register. My final word is to join the 3 former heads of state, Dr. Bakiri Muluzi, Dr. Joyce Banda, and Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, in condemning some emerging incidents of political violence. We have already seen a political party member murdered in Blantyre and demonstrators being intimidated in Lilongwe. These things will take our country nowhere. And I'm calling on the Malawi Police Service to do its job of investigating every incident of political violence and bringing suspects to book. Malawians are peace-loving people. And those who use their freedom of political participation or right to demonstrate for violent ends must not be allowed to ruin our reputation as a beacon of democracy in Africa. God bless you for listening, and God bless Malawi. Malawi azanga, monga mtumiki amene mudamuyika mu ofesi kuti akutumikireni. Ndayima pamaso panu lero kuti nkupatseni ripoti la zimene takhala tili kuchita pofuna kuyankhapo pa zinthu zitatu zikuluzikulu zokhoma zimene takumana nazo, ngakhale zimene tili kukumana nazo nthawi imodzi.
Kuyankhula kwa President wa dziko lino la Malawi Dr. Lazarus Makafe Chakwera kukambapo nkhani zikuluzikulu zimene zakhala zikukambidwa mdziko muno, ndipo anthu ena amakhala akufunsa kuti kodi a president sakuyankhulapo bwanji. So zulo pa 26 tinaona atalengeza kuti president akhale akuyankhula lero lino pa 27 ndipo wakwanilisadi kupanga zimenezi. Tayikani makomenti anu timve kuti kodi inu mwayimva motani speech ya president, komanso ena amene simunamve chizungu tiponyachi chepo.